I honestly don't even know where to start with this one. I guess I should start by saying that at the current time that I'm filming and editing this review, that while it is a bit hard for me to say whether or not I love this more than Infinity War, I could definitely say regardless that this movie feels like the perfect and definitive end to the Infinity Saga, as well as many of the characters that we followed for so many years. And yes, everything that you could have ever hoped and imagined for after 11 long years and 20 or so films is delivered, as well as a few surprises further down the road. As far as I could see, a film being able to pull off that kind of balance is very commendable, to say the least. Usually I have a preference for movies that can keep me guessing a lot through like 90% of it, even if some of those subversions admittedly don't really mean all that much in the grand scheme of things. But considering this movie is supposed to be sort of the definitive end for many of the original Avengers who had been around for so long now, I think it feels very well justified and earned in the end. The crowd experience for this movie was pretty much about what I had expected going into this movie. There was laughter, lots of cheers, applause, and even a fair deal of crying as well, from myself included, admittedly. It was truly a blast, despite how long it can feel every once in a while. Now, before I talk a little bit more about this movie, I should mention, now, I know some people have probably already said this by now, but if you're planning on sitting through the credits after this movie, don't even bother. There is no post or even mid-credits scene in this movie, so I'm just telling you all right now so you don't sit there wasting your time like me and my dad did when we went to see this movie. Just giving you a heads up. I'm not entirely sure as to why they didn't include even so much as a mid-credits scene in this movie. If anyone else has any best guess as to why that is, be sure to comment down below. My best guess is maybe because, as far as I can tell, outside of one or two movies that they have planned for the future, like like Spider-Man Far From Home for one, and a planned Black Widow movie, which I'm assuming to be a prequel to this one, maybe like an origin story or something, that's pretty much all I got there. Other than that, let's go ahead and talk about the movie. Spoiler free, by the way. The film takes place about a few weeks after... after the remaining Avengers, as well as the last remaining Guardian of the Galaxy, Rocket, reunite on Earth. Most of the film is them, barring some, albeit well-written and acted, personal dilemmas, again, not giving anything away there, is them trying everything that they can to restore what Thanos had done and bring an end to his destructive actions once and for all. I will have to say, for a basic setup like that, I did have to wonder going in as to how they were going to stretch that out naturally to a 3-hour-long movie, counting credits. Well, like I said previously, you will feel a little bit of that length every now and again during the first and even second act of this movie. The rest of the answer to that is quite simple. A lot of heart mixed in with a lot of genuine laughs, for me personally, arguably even more so than the last film sprinkled throughout the entire film if I'm being completely honest. Thanos, once again, also kicks major ass in this one. The way he poses a threat in this one is a little bit different than from what you might expect after Infinity War, but all in all, he's still a great antagonist. Not only are there some good, genuine laughs in this movie, but there's also a fair amount of emotion in this one as well. Like I said previously, there are times in the first half of the movie where you will feel a bit of the movie's length coming back to you. But even then, anytime I do feel the length of the movie coming back to me, it's almost immediately made up for in either a really good laugh or another interesting beat in the story. Also, I gotta be honest, I have not seen Captain Marvel before this, but if she is about as uninteresting there as she is here, then needless to say, I have even less interest in doing so. Now, to be fair, she does do some really cool stuff in the climax, but aside from that, she just didn't really do much for me. Now, there is one other problem I do kind of have with this movie looking back on it, but that would be a bit of a spoiler if I talked about it, so I'm not going to mention it here. But in all honesty, these are the only few problems I can think of in what is overall an amazing end to the third phase in the MCU. I honestly cannot stress enough just how amazing this movie is. This might very well be one of the best superhero movies to come out this decade. And that's saying a lot given what's come before. This movie will definitely, especially if you've been following the MCU for a long time, at least as long as I have in particular, then this movie will definitely make you both happy and emotional in all of the right ways. This is definitely a must-see. If you can get past the first half like I and a lot of people have, then this film will definitely leave you completely satisfied. Yeah, like I said, there are a few problems with the movie because, hey, no movie is perfect, am I right? This definitely feels like a very fitting conclusion to a lot of characters that we've spent so many movies and so many years with. Now, before I wrap up, I do want to also say that if you're planning on seeing this movie anytime soon, and if you also have an IMAX theater anywhere nearby and it's playing that, I would definitely take advantage of that. I will say, in the first half, I was kind of wondering if this movie really even has much of a point in being an IMAX, but once it gets to the second half, especially with the climax, I could definitely say it is well worth the extra amount of money. All I can really say at this point is thank you, Russo brothers, for delivering such a conclusion that has brought me so many joy, so many laughs, but also so many tears. I'm King Gargantuous, and all I can really say is take care.